Okay, so today I'm going to show you what we do for traveling with pills. I have this box, and instead of this being morning and night like these say, this is AM, lunchtime, PM. So we do this at 8, 2, and 8. And what happens is the AM is my pills and the PM is his pills. And I have enough boxes in here that I can do a 2-week supply. And then I also carry all our pills with us, so that when we're traveling, that if I need something or need labels or need to prove what they are, I have everything. Or if we take extra time and we don't have enough pills. The one awkward thing is this one. That's because at 8 a.m. I give Vandar his anti-seizure medicine, even though he's often asleep. So I just wake him up long enough, give him his 2 pills, and put him back to sleep. And then he takes the rest of his pills when he actually wakes up and drinks his coffee and stuff. So when you're traveling, you don't necessarily want to try to remember all the pills and put all the pills in individual packets. So I've decided that pretty much even when we go to the VA, which is 105 miles each way, it's a lot easier for me to grab this whole thing, and then I know we've got all our pills, because there's been a couple times where we've ended up staying the night, and if I don't have all his pills and all my pills, then it's obviously not good. So with this, this makes everything just go a lot easier. I'm gonna do a 2-week supply right now. When we was in the rehab hospital, it would take them easily 5 to 10 minutes to scan everything and give Vandar his pills at each time, which of course is a lot of work. So doing the prep ahead of time makes life a lot easier. Again, not everybody thinks about how to travel with all their pills, or maybe people that are sick enough that they have a lot of pills don't travel, but I don't want to limit my husband to traveling just because he needs a whole lot of pills, because that just seems wrong. So, it's you adapt and you make it work. And as far as the number of pills goes, prescription and non-prescription pills, we both have over 7 or over, so it's actually quite a bit. So it adds up really fast. And so obviously if I do 2 weeks, I only have to do this every 2 weeks, but inevitably it never lines up to when you're home, even though you'd like it to. And as you can see, I'm actually going through a lot of pills here, because a lot of the pills come in a 30-day supply, so this will be half the bottle going out. And then normally I'll set them outside so that I know I've done them. Oops. See, I'm thinking about me. And although I do take one of these, I take one of these at night. Now this is the Boswellia. There was a 2012 research study where they used Boswellia for brain swelling during radiation treatment. And it showed positive results, but they've never done a study after. So it's only possibly indicated that it helps with brain swelling. But I started this Vandar on this in May of last year, 2016, and I saw such a dramatic change within 24 hours, and after about 3 days is when it took full effect. So I consider this very important. We take it at a pretty high dose. He takes 4,200 milligrams a day, and it was like turning his personality up. So when I started this in May of last year, I felt like I finally got my husband back, because before that he was just sitting and kind of vegging most of the time. So I consider this supplement super important, and we take it at much higher doses than what the label prescribes, and it's prescribed for digestion, but it is an anti-inflammatory, so but it does seem to help with brain swelling, so it's a lot better than taking steroids, which is pretty much the only other medicine that they give for brain swelling. And the steroids, just like when you hear about roid rage and other things with steroids, the steroids they use for brain swelling can have some really awful side effects. For Vandar, and well, for most people, one of the big side effects is they raise his blood sugar. His blood sugar will go over 200, and I know from past experience that when his blood sugar is over 200, he's not healing properly. So every time you get brain surgery, they put you on steroids to help keep the brain swelling down. So when he's in the hospital, he actually has to take insulin shots, even though his diabetes is totally under control, and his A1C is normally 5, which is better than a lot of normal people's A1C. And he can actually eat things now, and his blood sugar doesn't go up. So we actually get a lot of joy out of eating fruit and being able to drink juices, because for many years neither of us was able to do that. So for us, a simple joy really is drinking a glass of orange juice, because that was denied to us for so long. Because if you're trying to lose weight, juice is just as bad as soda for calories. It's obviously healthier than soda. It's not empty calories. But if calories are your main concern, then a glass of juice just has a lot of calories, like a glass of soda. Oops. Did one go in or two? Just one. And obviously, if Vandar had to do his pills himself, he couldn't do it. This would be too complicated for him. Especially with his anti-seizure medicine, because the anti-seizure medicine is time sensitive. So it needs to be taken every 12 hours. Otherwise, you can end up with breakthrough seizures. And my husband's seizures, unlike most people's seizures, are mental seizures. So they're really hard to tell, because what they do is they cause mood changes. The most common thing is for him to seem like he's a little drunk, so a little happy. But they've also, in one of his hospital stays, they blamed his confusion and aphasia on seizures. So that was January of 2018. They increased his anti-seizure medicine, and since then he has seemed pretty stable. So So they weren't, that's what they decided, is he was just having seizures, is why. We'd actually gone to Denny's for lunch. We were having our car worked on, so the person working on our car had taken us to Denny's so we could wait at Denny's for the car to be repaired. And then when the car was done, we picked it up. We got a new catalytic converter put in. And then we got it smogged. And then when I got home, he said he was having a headache. And he said it was a 7 on the 1 to 10 pain scale. So we stopped everything. I put him in the car and took him to the emergency room. And they did a CT and said it wasn't a stroke. But in the time he'd been in the hospital or in the emergency room, he'd gotten worse because he'd been able to walk into the emergency room. But when they discharged him, he couldn't even walk. It took 2 guys to put him in the car for me. And so then we drove to the VA emergency room, and he got admitted from there. And then he was in the hospital for 3 days. And their decision was that it was seizures that was causing the problem. And I said, since then, his seizures have been, well, as much as I can tell, been pretty good. And the only reason I know about the breakthrough seizures is, I guess like most people, when you start anti-seizure medicine, you're kind of not as diligent about it because you're not really understanding how important it is. And so I didn't have him on a strict schedule of 8 and 8 for his seizure, anti-seizure medicine. And so I saw some breakthrough seizures. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to tell you exactly what his seizures are like. We've both had gastric bypass surgery in 2010. So because of that, we have extra vitamins we're supposed to take. We take 2 multivitamins a day. We take 1,500 milligrams of calcium a day and B12. Right now, I'm out of the B12. I just ran out, but we're on a really high dose, so I probably have a week or 2 until I have to pick that back up again. I normally only take 1 B12 a week, and I usually give it to him daily. He actually did have 1 today, so I like the sublingual so that it dissolves in your mouth. As you see, he can take just regular multivitamins. I, on the other hand, do not absorb well enough for that. So I actually have to have the chewable or I don't absorb. The same with the calcium. We both take calcium citrate. Again, with the gastric bypass, calcium carbonate doesn't necessarily get absorbed as well. So I have to take 1,500. I have osteoporosis. My T-score on my hip was minus 3.9. So I have to be sure I get my calcium so that the osteoporosis drugs I'm on works, because it draws calcium from the body, and if you don't have the calcium, it can actually make your bones weaker, not stronger, because your bones are where you store your calcium. So if you don't have enough in your blood, when it pulls it from your bones, even though it's supposed to be, the drugs are supposed to be making your bones stronger, it can actually make your bones weaker. So you have to be really careful. So these are chewable calcium citrates. Again, they're 500 each. They're, as you see, big honking wafers of a pill. This is only a 30-day supply right here in my hand. I mean, 90-day, excuse me. 90-day supply. 3 months. So, but it's obviously very important that I get my calcium and I take care of myself too. And then instead of the regular vitamins, I use chewable vitamins again because I really do not absorb them as well as he does. His system's adapted more than mine has. So I need to chew my vitamins in order to get the nutrients out of them. And again, all these extra vitamins are doctor prescribed. Not just taking extra vitamins for the fun of it. And then my 3 prescriptions. Prescriptions is, again, because I have digestive issues, I take Creon. It's a digestive enzyme derived from pork, from pigs. It helps me digest carbs, proteins, and fats. If I don't take this regularly, I don't get as much nutrition out of the food I eat, and it just passes through me. For a long time, I didn't feel like this was helping me, but because I've been on this since 2012, so there's been some years I didn't take it, but now I really do think it helps, so I do take it like I'm supposed to. I have a margin ulcer, which again comes back to my gastric bypass. It's where my pouch is sewed to my intestines. They can be very hard to heal, and then once you have them, they pretty much want you to take antacids for the rest of your life, because if it happened, it's probably going to continue to happen. So that's... And then the final thing, which is rather ironic that I take, is I take some medicine for nausea. It's anti-nausea medicine, because I just have all kinds of digestive issues and problems eating. And since it's very important for me to stay healthy for Vandar, I have to be able to eat. And so this is often given to people who have cancer and are getting chemotherapy. So that's the irony, is Vandar doesn't need this, even though he's getting cancer treatment and going to be getting radiation treatment here soon. He probably won't have any nausea, so he hasn't had any nausea medicine any of the times he's been on cancer treatment. And yet here I am taking anti-nausea medicine regularly, just all the time. It has helped. I definitely have seen a difference when I've run out of the prescription. I'm a lot sicker. So I definitely want to keep this up. So this video has probably been longer. Most of you probably haven't watched it to the end, but if you have, please make comments, ask questions, let me know what you might be interested in. Obviously we're doing a lot of traveling, and people who are sick, I don't think travel as much because there is a lot to take into account. So if you have questions, comments, suggestions, I'd certainly love to hear from you. But that's how we handle traveling with a whole lot of pills. I went ahead and covered this box with contact paper just to make it look a little nicer, so it's not just a regular box. And the great thing is, even if the box falls, because of the size and everything, pills very seldom move around or come out. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and please let me know. My name is Zena Awesome, and my husband has stage 4 brain cancer, and we still love to travel and do things together. So thank you very much.